Well, join me now to unpack all of this. We have Dr. Obio Haoti, is the Acting National President, Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria. Good morning, Dr. Haoti. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Ladi.
Yes.
Thank you for having me once again.
Fantastic. So, yeah, well, we're seeing the CBN active again, sending out some of those directives. And yes, I guess the POS guys need to work on this one now. So, talk to me about the, primary technical and, logistical challenges that operators like, likes of, OPay, Money Point, PalmPay, what would they face? Geotagging 4.2 million terminals within 60 days. But before you answer that, talk to us about what geotagging is.
Okay. Yeah, we received that circular on the 26th. I think the circular was out on the 25th, 2 days ago. So before that time, we have always known that such a circular is going to come out. So we were not surprised, and I believe many financial institutions have been preparing for this. Okay, so basically in a layman's understanding, geotagging means to pin a POS on a specific spot on the map. Now, let me be a bit technical. Now, if you want to geotag a POS, you need to identify the particular place that POS is within the map. You get the longitude and the latitude, and with all these coordinates, you now have to specifically pinpoint where that POS is. So when you are talking of geotagging, you equally talk of geofencing, because the essence of the geotagging a POS is actually to make it comply with a particular geofencing policy. So in this case, now the CBN is saying that no POS is expected to work outside 10 meters of the radius of the particular registered address of that POS. So that's basically what the policy is all about.
So definitely, with geotagging, let's imagine I'm a POS operator. Once I register my POS in a particular location, if I leave that location, what happens?
If you leave that location, technically about 10 meters outside that location, the POS will be deactivated. It's not going to work within that time that you are outside the particular location where the POS is specifically geotagged.
All right, so...
For instance now...
okay, yeah, go on.
For instance, I register a POS as an agent in Lekki, for instance, in Lagos, and I decide to come towards your office with that POS. Immediately as I walk away from that radius where the POS is specifically geotagged, it will no longer work.
All right, so they have to, most of the operators now, they have to geotag about 4.2 million terminals. Is this going to be difficult, or it's not going to be a problem?
In fact, the figure you have mentioned is correct to some extent, but that's not exactly what is there in the market. We have almost about 10 million POS that is out there. It's just that you have about half of it that is active. So whether the POS is active right now or maybe is going to be active later, it has to be geotagged for it to comply with the CBN directive. So operators are going to be grappling with not just 4.2 million POS, but much, much more than that number.
So how would this, directive impact, business operations of POS agents, particularly those who are, mobile or, operate across multiple, locations?
Okay. When this circular came around, I think yesterday we deliberated on it, so many of us that are stakeholders within the industry. It is a welcome idea because there have been so many issues that we are grappling. Remember, sometime early this year, the House of Representatives raised an alarm about unregistered and unverified POS, and other associated challenges. From time to time, we that are players at the grassroots, we usually encounter a lot of challenges like fraud, like kidnappers trying to cash out through the POS, and so many things like that. So geotagging is definitely going to help to reduce fraud and also curb criminality. However, let me stress this. The challenge we have in the industry, especially in Nigeria, is that when a good idea comes up like a policy, the implementation is usually what spoils it. Why I'm saying this is because I think the idea to geotag POS and some other payment terminals is okay, but to give a matching order that this must happen within a 60-day window, I have a problem with that. Remember, we just came out of the Naira redesign brouhaha that happened and put everybody into confusion. So now, the agency banking started many years ago, let's say from 2013 to now. We've been around for quite a while now. So POS have not mandatorily been geotagged. So I don't see the reason for the speed and urgency. I think the central bank is on the right path. However, they have to really give some kind of time frame for this to be achieved without necessarily causing unnecessary disruption within the market. Now, why am I saying this? In order to comply with this directive, it's not just saying that you have to do maybe fix a particular device or activate a particular software on a POS for it to comply. Now, the minimum standard for a POS to comply with this directive is Android version 10, okay? And many of, at least over 40% of the POS out there is not Android. So what it means that many of these POS have to be withdrawn from the system and replaced with a compliant version that will comply with the geotagging policy of the central bank. And this involves a lot of resources. Remember, many of these mobile money operators, especially the newly registered ones, are struggling to gain their market share and to even break even. So now there is need for them now to pump in resources in order to be able to comply with this provision of the policy. Again, even the established ones like maybe MoneyPoint and OPay, they have quite a huge number of POS out there. And they either have to withdraw those ones that don't have the capacity to comply with this directive, or they have to update the software on them for those ones that have the capacity, like those ones that are up to Android version 10. So this activity is not just something that can happen in a twinkling of an eye. It's not something that will happen in a jiffy. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. A lot of things are going to happen. And within this period of time, there will definitely be disruption within the industry. So as you cannot be updating a POS and the agent will be working with it or the merchant will be working with it. So this will cause a lot of challenges within the industry. So what we are saying as an association, as players in the industry, is that the central bank should look at this, bring out measures to phase the process, to make it happen in phases. For instance, say for the beginning, let so and so happen within 1 month, maybe the next 1 month again, so and so happen, so that within a period of 6 months to 1 year, many of the operators within the system, whether it's the MMOs, the PTSPs, the PSSBs, and the rest of them, would have complied fully with the policy to enable us get the optimum opportunity that this policy will give us, and also to enable us ensure that the intended purpose is not defeated by a wrong approach to ensuring compliance.
Have not recovered from the Naira redesign challenges. Definitely, a lot of people went through a lot, when we're redesigning the Naira. But, you know, to make this process smooth, do you think maybe the central bank should make sure, you know, get the banks to actually load the ATMs with cash and increase withdrawal limits? Do you think that would help?
It will.
Okay, so.
Okay. Hello, Lade.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did you hear my question?
I did. I had your question. You said, do I think that the central bank has to increase limits for ATMs?
Yeah, and load cash into the ATMs while this is going on.
Okay, so by implication, you are suggesting that the ATMs.
Okay, all right. I think we're having some interactions there on your end, Dr. Oti. But you know, definitely, it seems like something that would help us. You know, at this time. Dr. Oti, I don't know if you're back now.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, fantastic. So you can answer the question.
Yes. Yeah, I think you are implying that while the POS are undergoing the process of complying with the new policy on geotagging, that the ATMs can stand in as a stopgap, and then the central bank should increase the limit. Is that what you are trying to
increase
suggest?
Withdrawal limits, and let's be able to go to the ATMs and get cash.
Okay, while that may sound like a good idea, the ATMs cannot competently serve as an alternative to the POS. Remember, the ATMs are concentrated in most cities, city centers, banks, and the many urban and developed cities in the country. But the POS have found its way to very far located rural areas, rural communities, places that no bank branches have ever been before, no bank staff or bank official can ever get to. Okay, so when you do that, you are trying to use the ATMs to be an alternative to the POS, that idea will definitely not work. So the solution is not for the central bank to increase limit on the ATMs, no. The solution, like I have said ab initio, is that this should happen in phases, and the phases must be realistic. It cannot happen within a period of 60 days, and then by 31st October, the central bank will start enforcing compliance. No. Now, remember, let's even look at the idea of geotagging. While it is fine, there are some institutions or organizations that should be exempted from this policy. For instance, let's look at transport companies. Some transport companies use the POS as a means of receiving payment as they are moving from one location to the other. So as passengers are coming into maybe the bus or the vehicle, then they'll be paying with the POS. I remember the last time I was in Nairobi, Kenya, I paid with the POS, and the POS was the company was moving from one location, maybe from Nairobi to Mombasa with one POS. But if you apply this to the same situation in the Nigerian CBN case, you know that it's not going to work, because as soon as the vehicle moves from this particular bus stop to another bus stop, definitely it's going to move away more than 10 meters radius of the registered location, and it's not going to work. So what will happen to businesses like transport companies, and there are so many other businesses like that? We have POS agents also that are roaming from one location to the other. Even though we try to discourage that, but there are some rural communities that have different market days, okay? And each market day, a particular POS agent will have to go to that particular market. There are a lot of rural communities. If you go to the southeast, south, and southwest, there are some places where markets happen in alternate days. So you can't specifically register, except if you now, what it will now mean that you will now need various POS registered in maybe a K market, Nkwo market, different market days, or maybe Monday market, Tuesday market, and all that. So there will be a lot of issues around that.
All right, I guess I guess that could, somewhat complement, if the city centers and those in the urban centers can at least, get to the ATMs and get cash. That will reduce pressure, I guess. But, you do have a point there. We still need to get to the underserved areas, and you guys are, helping bridge that gap. But beyond fraud prevention, how might this geotagging initiative, contribute to, broader financial inclusion and data-driven, policy making in Nigeria? If you can answer that quickly.
Okay, thank you. Like I told you earlier, we embrace this policy. It's a very good one. At least with the idea of geotagging, you can specifically pinpoint areas that are underserved and then begin to make plan on how to reach those places. Because with geotagging, we will know the distribution and the concentration of payment devices like POS and where the agents, you can find the agents. So when you now look at the geotag data that is telling us where agents are, where they're operating from and all that, you will now begin to notice that you have data-backed information in order to deploy more agents within the country. Then again, also, like I said, fraud will go down because if criminals begin to notice that the police or law enforcement can competently and specifically pin them down to where they are using the POS to perpetrate fraud, then that will be a disincentive for them to be doing things like that. So it's a very good idea.
Thank you so much. Great having your perspective today. Dr. Obio Haoti is the Acting National President, Association of Mobile Money Bank Agents in Nigeria. Amban, thank you for coming on today, sir.
Thank you for having me.